Hi Stampers, it's Madeline from Stampin' with Madelyn, the Wonderland stamper. And today for Stampin' Sunday, we are going to focus on my stamping blends from Stampin' Up. I love them and I know you're going to as well. They are super easy to use and anyone with any kind of skill level can use them and you can make real masterpieces with them. They're fun to use, easy to use, and again, you can use them for so many different things, which is what I love about them. So here are two different examples that we're going to make today. One is using our stamp set and using the blends to color in, and one of them is using our designer series paper to color in. So I want to tell you a little bit about this designer series paper. This is called Just Add Color. It's in our annual catalog and it's a paper pack that you can get. These are the designs. I wanted to show you these. I love them. You can cut these up and use them as card fronts or cut each individual piece out for a card. But this is one of them. So this is the watering cans. You get two of each in the paper pack. Isn't this adorable? I love the little houses. So again, this too, you could cut this up and add just like a few of them or individual ones. And they really are a cute centerpiece on cards. This is gorgeous. This you could color and then frame, I think. It is just so beautiful. Or you could cut out different pieces for your cards. Here are some feathers. And people have used these to make dream catcher cards, which I thought was an awesome idea. And then this is the one that we are using in our card today. These are the leaves. So I cut strips out of this for our card. And I'm pretty sure I got 12 strips. So I was able to make 12 different cards, 12 of the same cards with different strips from this. And then the last one are adorable teapots. So if you go on Pinterest and you search Just Add Color Stampin' Up, you can get lots of different ideas using this paper, and it's available in my store. So if you click below on my blog link, you'll be able to head over to my 24-hour store and get your hands on a pack of that paper because it is stunning. You don't want to not have it. It's beautiful. So first, I'm going to show you how to make this card. This is a really easy card. I think it's super cute, and it's one of the ones that I swapped it on stage, and everyone loved the little piggy. So we're going to start with that. We are using a lot of different stamp sets for this, which isn't my favorite. I usually like to stick with one or two stamp sets so it shows the versatility and how easy it is to use, but I wanted to use a little bit of everything for this. And I got this idea from my upline. She did this card at one of our club classes, and I fell in love with it. So I tweaked it by using the blends. Okay, so you're going to need the card base. So this is 4.25 by 11 in Whisper White. Then I have a card front in Pool Party, 4.25 by 5.5. I have a piece of yellow that is 2.5 by 4. And then I have a piece of white that is actually the same size. So I did 2.5 by 4 as well. And we just put it a little off center, you'll see here. You will need a scrap piece of Pool Party and Whisper White to cut out your pretty label punch here. So I just have some scrap papers that I'm going to punch the label out of. So this is everything that you need. I'm going to be using the Pool Party ink pad for this, and I'm using Memento ink for my piggy and for my sentiment here. So something real quick that I've mentioned in my previous videos, Memento is the only ink that you can use with these Stampin' blends. In previous videos, I've used StazOn, and you can tell what happens. It really blends together, and they're both alcohol based, so they kind of repel each other. So Memento is the way to go with all of the really deep blending that we do with these markers and how moist it gets. You need Memento. So that was a good decision on Stampin' Up! To only provide Memento now. And again, you can get that in my online store as well, and I'll have that over my blog link. So your first thing you're going to do is you're just going to fold your Whisper White card base in half here, and I'm just going to use a bone folder just to get that nice crease on the top. And then we get to work. So set aside your card base. We're going to take out our piece of Pool Party, and we're going to start stamping. Okay, so I'm going to start with, let me show you the stamp sets that we're using for this. We're going to be using Wood Words. I love this because of this stamp. This is so versatile. I use this in so many different cards. It is definitely well used. So that is Wood Words. That comes as a bundle, so I'll have this on my online store as well with the links in my blog. It has the adorable framelits, little tag, the rooster. This you use twice and it makes the most adorable little crate. I love it. I've used many swap cards with this set. Made many swap cards with this set. I'm going to be using Label Me Pretty. This is available right now as a bundle with the pretty label punch. It's adorable, isn't it? This you can save 10% if you buy, so I'll have my link to that as well. This is really cute, like if you make a mason jar goodies for the holidays. I love that stamp. And then, of course, this little piggy, which is a fan favorite of my customers. This is adorable. Everyone loves getting cards with this little piggy on it. And again, like I told you, I had this at Onstage and I got rid of this one the quickest. I made 50 of them and they were gone within, I think, like 15 minutes. Okay, so we are going to be using from this little piggy set, the piggy with the flower. Isn't it so cute? We're going to be using, we're going to be using this stamp just to give it that little accent on the label. And then from Wood Words, we're going to be using the big flowery stamp, but also the sentiment. We're going to be using Hello Friend. So those were two from the Wood Words. All right. We're going to use the label punch with our scrap pieces of paper. I have Pool Party and Whisper White. You can do 2 layers at once. Just press really hard. Okay, so now we have our label, so that's all set, and we're done with our punch. Okay, I'm going to put the flowery design from Wood Words onto an E-block, just because it is a pretty big stamp. Okay, so I have that on, and then I'm going to get my Pool Party ink pad out here. We're just going to tap, tap, tap on this and get it really nice and inked, but not putting a lot of pressure. You want to get even inking on here. Okay, you are going to stamp off a little bit. So if you want to have a scrap piece of paper, which I'm going to do, just so that you don't get it onto your piercing mat and get it onto another design. So I'm going to stamp. A lot of it is stamping off, but that's okay. This is just like a little texture background. Inking again. Putting it in that bottom corner. There we go. And then we're going to get our little labels out. So the only one we're going to be stamping on is the Whisper White. We want to get our pretty little flowery design stamped on there. This is a red rubber stamp, very light pressure. You don't want to put a lot of pressure as you're pushing because you will get ink on here. So you almost feel like you're not even inking it up because it's so little pressure, and that's okay. And then again here as well, you want to line up the curves with the curves of the label. And again, you don't need a lot of pressure. There we go. Isn't that cute? And see, it's a perfect stamped image. So the key to those kinds of things is not a lot of pressure, the red rubber stamps. Okay, now I have Hello Friend, the sentiment. I'm going to be doing that in Memento. Just because I'm already using Memento, this is in Tuxedo Black. I'm already using Memento for my piggy, so I have it out. So I'm making sure that it gets nice and inked. Okay, and then stamping it right in the center of my tag. There we go, look how cute. Okay, so then you could finish up this part very easily. We're just putting adhesive on the Pool Party part of this adorable tag and then letting it hang out a little bit on the bottom. Cute, huh? So that can be with our card base for right now. You want to take out your scrap or your piece of Whisper White that we had with the Daffodil Delight piece. They're both the same size. We're going to get our piggy all inked up. So for our piggy, I would recommend an E-block just because she is a bigger stamp Make sure it's on there really well. It is a big stamp with multiple things that are hanging off. We're going to go into the memento and just make sure that you're getting the whole stamp inked, because the stamp is a lot bigger than the ink pad. I did try to do it with the stamp flat on the table with the ink pad above it. It didn't work as well, so this would be what I would recommend. Just keep tapping it. Make sure it's nice and inked. Center it on this Whisper White. Press down for 3 seconds. There we go. Isn't that so cute? Okay, so now we're done with the memento, so we can put that away. Now, the thing with the memento, it is wet for a while. So I want to let that sit aside for a second so that it gets the full ink that it needs. Bring back your Whisper White card base. Start putting your card together. So we're going to attach our pool party card front here. And it will cover the full card base front. And if you have any extra that's hanging over, you can always trim it away. Okay, and then I'm going to put my Daffodil Delight on here. I'm putting it on a cockeyed angle. Okay, and then all we have is this and this, but we want to color in our Whisper White piece here first. Okay, so this is where we're getting to the fun part. We're going to be using the Stampin' Blend. So here's a few tips. You're definitely using memento. You want to make sure that it's fully dry before you start coloring. Another thing is that these markers are very, very heavy with color, which is awesome, but they do leak through the paper as we're working. So you want to make sure that you're on your piercing mat or like a scrap piece of paper underneath, just so you don't get it on your card that you're trying to work with. So for this one, I'm going to be using, let's see, the Pink Pirouette Stampin' Blends Dark and Light. I'm going to be using the Pool Party, mostly the light, and I'll also be using the light of the Old Olive. And also for the flower, you can bring in whatever color you want. I'm just going, for this one, I'm going to do Rich Razzleberry, because the Rich Razzleberry Dark and Light is what we're going to be using for the next card. So first, this is my tips with the Stampin' Blends. I have gone over this in some of my other videos, but just as a beginner, if you're just starting to use Stampin' Blends or if you've been using them, this is how I do it. I get the bullet point of the darker color, and I'm going to trace where I want some darker color. Now, I usually focus on the black lines. That's where I put the dark color. So you could do all of these, or you could just do some of them. I mostly do it like on one side. I'll do a lot of dark. So like I'll finish these ears, and I'll come down and give him a lot of dark on this side and leaving this side light. Okay, so making it more of a thicker color here. What's nice about blends is that when it's an alcohol-based marker, so you want a lot of wetness. You want it to look like it's very wet, because that's what's going to help you to move the color. So now I'm going over to my light Pink Pirouette with the bullet point. I'm going to color out from this dark. So I'm just doing small circles and I'm moving that color out. Okay, so we want to color in circular motion so that we're getting that color to really blend and look gorgeous. See how in the ear there the color is mixing in with each other? That's what we want. And another thing to think about, these blends, they don't look the same when they're wet as when they will when they're dry. So see how I'm working this until that stiff line in there goes away. And then just work it out again. So now I'm moving over a little bit and I'm mixing this color now. We're just doing it until that line goes away so that it's just a nice smooth color. Now I'm going to work up here where I put in the color by the nose. And again, it's hard for you to see it maybe through the video, but when you start working with this, it's so easy. It's really easy and it brings out some great color, and it really shows how great all of our products are working together. This piggy is so cute. Okay, now I'm just going to fill in the little areas because those are hard. You're not really blending in those areas. But you can already tell how light the legs are compared to this color that we've been working with in here, blending from that dark to light. Okay, so now I have everything colored in. And again, it is going to look different because it's so wet right now. And some of the color did leak out, and that's okay. We have a color lifter blend that we can use, but I sometimes like that. I think it looks more artistic like that. I'm going to use a light, rich raspberry, the bullet point, and just get my flower here colored in. I want to get that nice and colored in. Okay. Use the dark old olive bullet point to color in the leaf. So this is just normal coloring. We're not blending. Okay, and then I just did a messy color with the light pool party. I used the brush side, so that's the thicker side, and I just did like a messy, quick like watercolor, filling in the back here, just to give it that sky look, but not like caring about neatness really. I like that look of the messiness, gives it that watercolor look. Okay, and then a quick light old olive, the brush side, and just doing some grass here quickly again. Not really worrying about neatness, just going with it. Another thing I like is the layering. So this is the light one, but you could go a few layers once it's dry, and then look at the difference. You can tell that some of it is darker than the other parts that you didn't color again. So it has some nice layering aspects that you can do. Okay, so there is our cute little piggy. I just love him. He's so adorable. We're going to put the rest of this card together. So you can tell some of that color went through, and that's totally fine. That's what it's meant to do. But that's why you want to have your scrap paper out or your piercing mat. I'm going to put it on an angle. And then I'm putting down my Hello Friend label, having it overlap. There we go. Isn't that so cute? So there is our one card. Now our next card is adorable. Let me pull that out. So this card uses colorful seasons. Let me get it out of the shiny envelope so you can see everything on it. All right, there we go. This card uses colorful seasons, which is a great stamp set for all year long. There is something for every single season. Has a beautiful framelit set. Look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. Has lovely sentiments, beautiful leaves, snowflakes, flowers, everything. Now, the framelets are even more beautiful. The little Adirondack chair. Look at these snowflake details. Just stunning. The leaf, gorgeous. Lots of stamps. You can get this as a bundle and save 10%. It's gorgeous. So we're using that for our leaves in the background and our sentiment. We're using the Just Add Color paper that I talked about in the beginning of the video that you can cut and use in lots of different ways. So it's Just Add Color Designer Series paper. Search it on Pinterest. There are tons of ideas, and I got this idea off of Pinterest. So this wasn't an original artwork. I just loved it, and my club absolutely loved it too. I'm using the 2 1/4 circle for the black circle back there punch, and also the starburst punch here. So this is Pear Pizzazz and basic black, and we're using a little bit of all of our markers for this as well. I have Rich Raspberry, Old Olive, and the Pool Party, and I did the leaves and the sentiment in Memento because that's what we had out for the piggy card. We did both of these in club, and then I have the copper metallic thread just in the back as a little accent. I also put the Just Add Color paper, basic black in the back, just to make it stand out a little bit more. And the cardstock is Rich Raspberry, and it's just the card base and the card front, which I loved. So let's get to work on this. So what you'll need for this card is, of course, that Colorful Seasons stamp set that I showed you a second ago. You'll need a piece of Rich Raspberry that is 4 1/4 by 11. You'll need a strip of basic black that is 2 inches by, I'm pretty sure it's 5 1/2. Let's make sure. Yep. 5.5, and then I took the just add color and I made it 5.5 vertically, and then just took off 1/4 of an inch side to side. So all the measurements will be on my blog, so make sure to click over just to get them. Then I have a scrap piece of paper of Pear Pizzazz and Basic Black, and I'm just going to use our punches. I have my 2 1/4 circle punch. I'm going to take a punch of this just to get this part out of the way. And then I have my Starburst punch here. And there we go. Just so that's out of the way and we're ready to keep going with the card. There's a lot of coloring for this card, but so worth it in the end. So first, let's get the stamping done that we need to get done. I'm going to do the Life is a Beautiful Thing sentiment from the Colorful Seasons in Memento. This has great little sentiments and just so many different stamps. There are so many different cards that people have used with it. Stunning. Everything that people make with it, it all looks beautiful. All right, so we're going to ink this up. This is a photopolymer stamp, so you do need your piercing mat just to make it a nice, crisp, clean image. This fits perfectly onto this Starburst punch, which I loved. We're just holding it down. There we go. And then we're going to attach this to our black circle, and it gives it that perfect little shadow to make it pop even more, matching with our sentiment ink. There we go. Okay, and then the other stamping that we're going to be doing, so my Rich Razzleberry, I scored it down the center at 5.5, just so that it would be easy to fold over without getting the crease. So it's easy to make. If there's not an easy score line to go on, sometimes it'll give you an ugly crease. And I got a little bit of it, but not too bad. We'll use this side. Okay, so we're going to take the leaf, this leaf from the Colorful Seasons, and we're going to be stamping it 3 times. And I'm going to show you what my technique was with this. Let me get the leaf off. Okay, I start the leaf here, kind of centered, a little bit lower, and I'm going to stamp it in Memento. So let's get it on a block, get it nice and inked with Memento. I'm going to do 1 leaf, hold it for 3 seconds. Now I'm going to re-ink this leaf, and I'm going to line up the stems. So line up the stems, but go up a little bit. And yes, there is overlapping here. Ink it up 1 more time. Line up the stems again, but go down. So it kind of looks like a bouquet on the end there. There we go. So there is a little bit of overlapping, but I really like the look. So now this is going to go over this. So just the leaves are popping out here. Isn't that beautiful? And we'll have the copper trim to add a little embellishment there. Okay, so now you want to take your Just Add Color strip of leaves, and we're going to color this in fully. So like I said, you're going to use the bullet point of the darker color. So I'm using the darker Old Olive, and I'm going to go around on the dark lines. Now, this is totally up to you and the way that you like to color, but this was really easy for me to get that really nice blended look and to go quick and not really have to think as I'm going. And you don't have to be perfect with this. As you can see with me, I'm not being perfect with it. I'm just going along and quickly getting on some of these dark lines. And it'll still, I think, look beautiful in the end. And we'll speed up some of the coloring. I'm going in with the dark, rich razzleberry now with the bullet point and going around the things that I want in this color. Going around the darker lines with it and the stems. Okay, now I'm going to go back with the lighter colors, and using the paintbrush side, I'm going to do what I just did in the piggy. We're going to color in circular motions and color until you get that stiff line of the dark color blended in nice with the rest of the coloring here. And like some of them, they're going to be too small to really work with. But that's okay. Do as best you can. And with leaves, it's really easy because it looks just like it's skeleton. So you don't really have to mix it in too much. And again, I'm just doing circular motions until it's all nicely blended in. And it will look different once it's dry. Okay, now I'm going in with the lighter rich raspberry with the paintbrush side. See, these are a lot smaller, so this is really, there's not going to be much blending going on. I'm just trying to color over the dark and the light just to give it a little bit of blending look, but when it's so small like this, it's hard to get that look. Remember that this will all look different once it's dry. So some of the blending with the green leaves will change how it looks once it dries. Okay, now I'm going to go through with the dark pool party. And it's up to you if you want to use the bullet point or the brush. I'm going to try the brush. I'm going to go through this and just get all of the white. This will kind of cover up anything if you went outside the lines. It'll mix it right in and not look like you went outside the lines. And this also will look very watercolory if you don't do too much like fixing. So if you see that you made a mistake, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just keep going because then it looks more artistic and it doesn't look like you tried to overdo it. I really love these markers because anything you create with them, it's absolutely gorgeous. Don't worry about the color transferring over to this. You're just going quick. Alright, so make sure that you get all of the background colored in because you will notice it if there's any piece of white. It's definitely easier to notice. So we're going to attach this to our basic black here. You can tell it definitely leaked through. I'm happy that I was on my piercing mat. Just trim off any extra if it didn't line up the way you wanted it to. Isn't that beautiful? We're going to attach it on here, leaving a little strip of rich raspberry on one side, but most of it on the other. So like right about here, line it up so it's straight across, straight down. And again, you can trim off any extra that is below here. There we go. Then you're going to take your copper thread here. I don't have too much of it left. You want to, well, let's do this first. Okay, so on your sentiment with the black circle, you're going to take Stampin' Dimensionals, and you're going to add a bunch on here. So I love these mini stamping dimensionals. They're really easy to use. I'm going to fill this up with a bunch of them. So this again is on my online catalog, online store as well, and I'll have the link over in my blog. I'm putting a bunch, like 8 to 10 on here. This is going to help us attach the metallic thread and also give it some three-dimensional look on our card. So right now I'm peeling off the papers. You'll find these papers all over the house. They stick to everything. I find them on me at work. They follow you for sure. Okay, now take your copper thread, if you're using it, wrap it around 3 fingers, and I'm going to go about 6 times. Just give it enough. Cut it down. It's all nicely looped because of your fingers now. I'm going to just spread it out and put it down onto my Stampin' Dimensionals. It's just giving me a few loops, and you can work with it a little bit just to get it the way you want it. Those Stampin' Dimensionals will help you to attach it the way that you want it. So I really like it just for giving an extra oomph to the card. Another extra embellishment. We're going to put it in the center of the leaves. And there we go. There is our finished card. Isn't that so beautiful? I love the Just Add Color paper because all you need to do is color. And it's a real stress reliever to be doing that. So look at our 2 cards that we made today. I love them both. I love the blends. I hope you do too. I'll be making many movies using the blends. There's lots of different projects we can do and lots of different things you can use them for. I hope you liked my video. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button so that you'll get an alert for every Stampin' Sunday that I have. Make sure to stay tuned. I have the Stampin' Sunday every Sunday. I always do something about paper pumpkin or a new product or what I did at a club meeting or an event at my house. I love to hear from you, so let me know if you made these and what you're making with your blends down in the comments below. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and head over to my blog link so you can get all of the supply links over there and see the dimensions for these cards. Thanks so much for watching. For now, keep stampin', Stampers. Bye.